It's been 6 years since I lost my baby, and yes, I know the pain of losing a baby and going through a miscarriage. I went through a lot of pain and my own process of mourning my loss, and I learned, I questioned. Especially, I went through a growth spurt in my relationship with God, and it was painful as well. And I now understand a little more about His mercy and His love for us through this very painful experience. So I want to share today my experience for anybody who is out there going through the same. I want to offer a space where we can talk about it, where we can process our feelings, where we can share where we are in our journey of processing a painful loss. Welcome back to my channel. If you have been watching my videos, and if not, if you're new, welcome. I want to offer today a very, very personal story about my loss. Even though it has been a few years, I still, when I reflect about the things that I learned and the things that I've been going through since the loss of my baby, it's very important for me to feel that I can help anybody out there going through the same. Because the first thing that I can tell you about this experience is that sometimes it can feel lonely, and it can feel like nobody talks about it, and we need to process those feelings when we are experiencing a loss so painful as it is losing a baby. So I was very excited when I found out that I was pregnant, and I went ahead and I announced it to everybody in a birthday party for one of my sisters. So I had just learned that I was pregnant, and I decided not to take any ultrasounds for the first 6 weeks of my pregnancy. But I went to the hospital, and they tested me, and they told me that I was pregnant. So it was not only, a pregnancy test at home many times to make sure that it was right what I was seeing, but I went also to the doctor to verify the information. And ever since then, I've learned that as soon as 6 weeks, you can hear the heart of the baby through an ultrasound, vaginal ultrasound, that soon. So I didn't do that this time around, but I went ahead and told everybody, and I was really excited about being pregnant, because I got married when I was 37, as many of you have heard me say in other videos. And I was feeling kind of like against the clock, because I was thinking, is this really going to happen for me? I am already a little older than everybody else having babies, and I don't know if this is going to happen. But it did. And I was waiting for it for like a year after getting married, almost a year. And so it was I was over the moon, and my husband as well. So we shared with everybody, and they were really happy as well because they were waiting with us. And I was not feeling many symptoms for a while, a little bit of nausea, but that was about it. I don't know if it's normal to feel it so early, to feel the nausea early, but I was just, thinking everything was okay. After a month of finding out, actually after about 6 weeks of finding out, we went to a retreat with my husband, and I was just, oblivious to whatever was going on in my body, because like I said, I didn't have an ultrasound early on. And I started bleeding, and I called my midwife because I was planning a home birth, and she said it may be a miscarriage, it may not, you have to wait. And I started praying, talking to my baby, telling my baby to please hold on, to please stay with me. Every time I remember this part, I want to cry, because I was holding hope, of course, and very strongly thinking this. I mean, I was just hopeful for the best, I guess. And that was a Saturday, December 1st, 2018. And we slept in the retreat house. The next day, we went to mass, but my bleeding will not stop, and it was very, very painful. It started getting more painful, like contractions, like painful. So we went to emergency in a hospital, and they tested me, and they told me that it seemed like there was no baby, or there were remains of the baby, but I was miscarrying. Some nurses that really didn't know what was happening and saw me and kind of heard my story. I know they see so many patients, but they try to help you sometimes, and one of them told me, don't worry, everything is gonna be okay. And when I knew already that nothing was going to be okay, because my baby was not really alive anymore. And I continued to bleed, I continued to have pain. They performed an ultrasound, and they didn't find much there anymore, but I continued to bleed. And when I was bleeding, I tried to catch some of the tissue that was coming out. It really, really had formed already inside of me, the fetus. And I'm not a person to take medication for pain. If I can, I just try to go through it with no medication. But this pain was so bad that I was calling my husband for pills, and I was telling him, just give it to me, please, just give it to me. And he gave those pills, the pain killers, for me, and I miscarried my baby at home. My body made sure that everything was out, And it was so surreal losing our baby. We thankfully have faith, and that helped me because I talked to a friend, and she really helped me with thinking that my baby is in heaven, and I needed this baby in heaven to pray for my husband and me, and in our needs. And he's watching us, she or him, because we don't know really if it was a boy or a girl. I guess one of my regrets is not having an ultrasound. Not that that will have helped, because I believe that you can only know the gender of your baby until 18 to 20 weeks. And I was, as I said, about 6 weeks pregnant when I miscarried my baby. So we went ahead and named my baby Guadalupe, because in Mexico you can be called Guadalupe. Is a unisex name. It can be Maria Guadalupe, or it can be Jose Guadalupe. So I have it written to not forget. So I remember that I wanted to talk about it with friends and family, but they were trying to avoid the subject. They really didn't know how to handle it, or they thought it was too painful for me to talk about, but I really wanted to process. So I went and processed with a couple of friends. They probably thought I was a little bit over the top, or like exaggerating, maybe. I don't know what people thought, but it's, how people think, it's just an embryo, or it's just it's not a baby, whatever. For me, it's a life since the minute of conception, and there was a heart beating in my inside. There was life happening. There was cells multiplying rapidly until it stopped. And it was my baby, and I wanted my baby. I heard somebody said in a video about their loss that the doctor said, oh, if you had your baby will have a lot of complications. And that lady said, I don't care, I want my baby. That's how I felt, and I took it up on God. Like I said to God, if you don't like me, I don't like you either. Yes, I said that to God, and it took me a while to go back to talk to God. It was not easy process, especially in my spiritual journey, because I always felt, God could have let me have a baby, especially when I am looking for it. So, with so much love and feeling like I'm against the clock and all that, it just felt like unfair. I know that God does everything for a reason, and that maybe there is no point in trying to understand everything that happens, because I'm not God, and I cannot see the whole picture, but He does. He understands. And so the mourning continued for a long time, and maybe it's still ongoing, but it's not as painful anymore. I don't feel the pain, maybe because I have 2 babies that are beautiful and that are healthy and that I adore. But being the first baby was really difficult. Being the first one, waiting for it, expecting it with so much love, and losing it just like that. It was really, really, really painful. Before I forget, I remember that it took a while for my body to get rid of everything. That's why it was a bit painful process. But I was glad that I didn't need any procedure from the doctor, because you can get damaged by that. I don't know details about it, but I was happy that my body was able to have everything out. And I didn't know that you can catch your baby with a simple thing as a strainer, a fine mesh stainless steel strainer from the kitchen, even plastic, something that doesn't let many things go through. And then what we did with whatever I was able to catch, we had some prayers, and we buried our baby in our backyard, as if we were doing a mini funeral for our baby. That helped us have some closure. I remember regretting the fact that I didn't know about the strainer, because I went to Walmart and my body was still getting rid of my baby. I didn't really know when my body was gonna do it, because it will just come and go, the pain. But when I started getting the pain, I knew it was kind of like a contraction. I knew my body was in that process. And I was in the middle of going to the store, and it's maybe too much information, but I was not willing to put my hand inside the Walmart toilet. So that being said, get a strainer if you're going through that process. And also, I highly recommend the mini funeral for your baby. Say some prayers, talk to God, especially if you know that you're gonna be in that house for a long time. Some people also bury their baby in a plant that they know that's gonna be healthy and around for a while, because they know their baby it's buried there. And I don't know if there is any specific indication. There is also a shrine, at least here in California, in the city of, I believe, Bakersfield. And I'm gonna put the information in the description. There is this shrine where they have a little cemetery for babies that have been miscarried, and that the parents possess their remains, and they wanna give them a little ceremony and bury their babies with prayers with a priest and all these things. So that's really nice. And that's what I wanted to also share with you. I did find peace in everything that God does in my life. And I trust very much in His mercy for us, for my husband and I. We became closer ever since crying together. I remember one time we were filling up some forms, and I filled out that I had a miscarriage, because the question was if I had children, and my answer was yes, one in heaven. And my husband started crying and said, "Oh, you remember our baby that's in heaven?" And so I started crying too. So another time I remember being in the bathroom and just having a normal day, but all of a sudden I started thinking about my baby and I started crying. That was my process of mourning my baby, my loss. So now I am grateful for the little one that watches over us in heaven. Now I can see that there is a reason for it. My baby is with God, and that's my belief, and I am so honored to have a baby in heaven, and that's my belief. And it's real. The pain is real. It's not easy. It's a life for me, and if you're going through this, just know that I understand your pain. It may take a while to go away, and to never lose hope of having a baby, of fulfilling your dream of being a mom or a dad. Talking to your baby, putting them a name. There is a story of this boy that saw heaven, and in heaven he found a little girl, and the little girl told him, "I'm your sister." She had been miscarried by his mom, and she said, "But I never got a name," because they never put a name to the little baby that was miscarried. And she told his parents about this experience in heaven, and told them about the little girl, and they had never told the boy about the miscarriage, but he went to heaven and saw his little sister. So they knew that it was right, that it was the truth, that he had seen his sister in heaven, and they named her, and now she had a name. So name your baby, talk to your baby, and never lose hope. Never believe I remember I went to another doctor, not the emergency hospital one, but my insurance one, and he said, don't you know that you're gonna have a really hard time getting pregnant? And he was, of course, telling me this because of my age. Never let anybody tell you anything when they have not, or don't believe it. That's what I want to say. I'm not saying fight them or anything, but don't believe them, because as long as you work on your fertility, you have hope in becoming a mom. You can always watch my other videos that I have put up about my fertility journey and how I became a mom at 40 and at 44. And if you have any questions, any comments, feel free to let me know, and I will gladly read them and answer them. And I hope you subscribe to my channel and come back for more encouragement, maybe homemaking encouragement, or in your fertility journey. God bless. Bye-bye.